no proof is not enough.
Everyone, welcome to another episode of Geek-A-Tech. So today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic which is called gray box testing. So it's a very unique testing approach which is very in use nowadays. So sometimes we perform this kind of testing and we don't know that it's a gray box testing, uh, because as the name suggests that it's a gray box. So it's important to understand that where it lies. You know that we already heard about the concepts of black box testing and white box testing. So gray box testing lies in between of these two kinds of testing. As the name also says, that it's a gray box testing. So what it does means that in gray box testing, a user has a very limited knowledge about the architecture and the how system perform, how system behave with the data flow. The tester has knowledge about different utilities and the stuffs, that how they are going to interact with each other. So this happens in the gray box testing, but it is not up to at that extent where user have complete knowledge about the internal functioning, where like they have knowledge when they perform white box testing. And in case of black box testing, they don't have any kind of knowledge the how internal system works. So it's a more one step ahead from black box testing and one step behind from white box testing. And I think, and most of us perform gray box testing, but we don't know that we are performing gray box testing, because we are performing gray box testing when we do API testing mostly. So let's talk about an example and try to understand that how gray box testing we are performing. So here you can see that we have three different modules here. One is we have password API, we have another the encryption utility with us, and we have a DB option where we save the data passwords, encrypted password in our database. So here you can see that the when we try to perform the gray box testing, then tester have knowledge that okay, password API is going to call the encryption utility which encrypt the password and save it to the database. Where in case tester don't have certain knowledge that how encryption performs encryption to change the plain password into encrypted password. So that part is not required to understand by a tester, but they have to understand that how their API is going to call the encryption utility, and in case if encryption fails, then what kind of response they will receive on password API, and what are the scenarios where encryption can fail. And they can also understand that what are the scenarios where the encrypted password is not going to save in DB, so they can explore those scenarios also while testing. So this is how they have the limited amount of knowledge about the architecture of their system, how the internet data flows. Okay, but they don't require all the complete encryption algorithms knowledge. It's not required for them to understand. So this is how gray box testing we are performing, and I know many of us are performing this gray box testing and we don't know that we are performing gray box testing. So there are a couple of testing methods are there which we perform when we do gray box testing. So one is the metrics testing. So what is happening in metrics testing, that we the testers sit together with business persons, the POs and the business owners, that they discuss that what are the risky stuffs which are have the critical scenarios are there, which are the more risky scenarios. So they can test those, they can create test cases from those perspective. And the second thing is the pattern testing. So what happening in pattern testing, that it based on the defects history. So suppose in case of any API where the validations fails because of the special characters, so they found that okay, there are many of these scenarios failed because we provide certain special characters and validation is not working. So based on that pattern, we are creating more and more scenarios to test the validations and authentications. Okay, so this is the another approach in called pattern testing. Then we have a state transition also, then where we understand that how system behaves in different transitions of this the state transitions, how our one utility or one module behave when they interact with the another module. The another one is orthogonal testing. So what is happening in orthogonal array testing, that here we works on the different kinds of permutation combinations. So based on that we try to test our system. So and the another one is decision tables and data flow tables to test how the business rules are going to work. And decision table is mostly used for testing the quite complicated business scenarios, and whereas the data flow table we are using it using the how the data flows in our system, and based on that we explore more scenarios and try to test it. So the advantages of or gray box testing is that it improves the product quality, because now tester has more understanding of the system, and based on the more understanding they test more scenarios. They can test at edge cases, they can test more business scenarios, because now they have understanding how system internally works. We decrease the product development cost, because when we perform gray box testing we found the defects quite early stage of the product development, so it has a very low cost. Effective testing, because we are covering more and more scenarios, so this test kind of testing approach is very effective to improve the quality of the product. And it contains the benefits of both black box and white box testing. So yeah, so we have double advantage here in gray box testing in comparison to individual white box or black box testing. There are certain disadvantages also, where the source code is not accessible to the tester, which is not required for them. So if they have source code available with them, then they can explore more scenarios. But again, in gray box testing they have a limited exposure of the system, of the internal working of the system. So yeah, it's a limitation. Again, to design the test cases, it's a little more difficult in comparison to black box testing, because now we have to cover different edge cases, where how utility or different modules going to interact with different APIs. So yeah, designing test cases are a little more difficult than the traditional approach. Again, this is not suitable for algorithm testing, because algorithms are more complex and more understanding of the code and implementation is required. So it's not there in gray box testing. So yes, this gray box testing is not a preferred kind of testing for algorithm testing. So this is all about gray box testing. If you are new to my channel, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel, and press notification bell, so you will get notification whenever I release a new video. So thank you.